And welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome again to Barcelona against Napoli in the decisive second leg at the Camp Nou. But of course, you knew that already. We've been building up here to the big game, coming live on Saturday, and in today's video, we're going to be going over all of the tactics that we could see play out in what I feel here is an absolutely fascinating tactical battle between Quique Setién and Genaro Gattuso. Both coaches are under pressure to get through to the quarter-final. Who will make it? We are going to find out. But without further ado, let's take it now to the tactics board. I think first things first, guys, what we have to discuss is exactly how Napoli will approach this game. Because in back there to the first leg, you think about the way they played, the way they approached that game, from basically minute 1 to minute 90, they completely abandoned what they'd usually play in terms of their style. Because as we've spoken about in previous videos, they are a team that in Serie A loves to have possession. They've got the highest possession average in the entire Italian division. But in our first leg, they didn't want the ball. They were happy there to drop deep. And I'm not just talking here about a little drop off. I'm not just talking here about not being on the ball as often. I am talking about a full-on low block, all 11 players inside their own half, behind the ball, and a really, really compact defensive structure. That's what we saw from Napoli in the first leg, right throughout the first half, and even then moving into the second. Even when we got our away goal, they were still very resolute, they were still very deep, and all they were doing was relying there on counter-attacks, on set pieces, to try and hit us against the run of play. And to be fair, Napoli, when you look at the stats, when you look at the game, they did reduce us to very few big chances, and they did frustrate us for large periods of the game. But, and this is the crucial part, we did get our goal. We did leave Stadio San Paolo with an away goal. And I've said before, and I've said right throughout the last few months, that Griezmann goal, I think is going to turn out to be absolutely crucial. And that away goal from Antoine Griezmann, that undoubtedly, coming into this second leg, it's going to be giving Gattuso a major headache. Because coming into this game now, how are they going to set up? How are they going to approach the game from the first minute when they know, effectively, they need a goal? If this game finishes 0-0, Barcelona go through, and that's why now Napoli find themselves with two options. Number one, Napoli could come out at the Camp Nou in this decisive fixture for them, a make or break game. They could go for it. They could press us from the first minute of the game. They could get right in our faces, really high up the field, and basically go toe-to-toe with us. We've seen teams come and do it, and to be fair, some teams in La Liga this season have got their rewards by really pressing high and basically stopping us from playing out of the back and smothering us in our own stadium. It has happened, and Napoli may take that approach, but of course, if you do that, you do leave spaces. You do leave that area in behind, which we've seen against teams like Villarreal. That's when the front three can combine. And that's why I feel as though Napoli are going to be wary of that. They won't want to expose themselves too early on in the game. And that's why I don't feel as though they will go with that all-out, all guns blazing approach. Which leaves option number 2, which I feel here is much more likely. Because I think that in the initial stages of the game, we may see Napoli there just approach our back line with a little bit of pressure. They may use their front three, which we expect there to be a very mobile front three from Napoli, just to press us and basically put pressure on us playing out of the back. But for me, that's the only pressing we are going to see, at least there in the early stages of the game. We're just going to see that very first line of engagement, Napoli there trying to get high at the pitch, but only with their forwards. Aside from that, I feel as though once again, they're going to drop back, they're going to have their midfielders quite deep, they're going to pack the middle, and especially the defence. They're not going to have a high line. There is no doubt in my mind about that. We are going to see Napoli, even despite our away goal, come into the Camp Nou with a very similar approach, at least initially, to what we saw at Stadio San Paolo. Because I think what Gattuso here is going to be planning is to basically make it in this game and stay in the game until the 75th minute. Around the 70, 75, 80 minute mark, their ideal scenario would be Napoli 0, Barcelona 0, and in that last period of the game, then they'll come at us. Then they'll start to push a few more bodies up, get a bit higher, maybe then hit us in that final period, knowing as well that we do drop our level as the game goes on, and that's why Napoli may target that final area. But with that in mind, Barcelona have got to respond, because we have to maintain our control of this game. We have that away goal. We are in the ascendancy. Everything is all in our own hands. So what we have to do is control the pace of the game, the way the game plays out, and we have two things I feel we have to do to make the tie ours. Number one, Barcelona in this game have to be the most focused we have been in any game this season. And we have to do something that we've lacked all season long. I alluded to it there. We've got to play a 90-minute performance because we cannot, under any circumstances, give Napoli in this game something to protect. We simply can't afford to concede that first goal. If you concede a goal to Napoli in the first half, even there early on in the second half, the alarm bells, they're going to be ringing. And what you would do then is hand everything to Napoli and say, you know what, there's your goal, go and protect it. And they would love that scenario. Imagine Napoli, when they're already going to come to sit deep, imagine if they had a goal. You cannot give them a chance. You've got to be 110% focused in this game. You can't make a defensive mistake. You can't make the sort of mistake that we made at Stadio San Paolo. We made one mistake there and they scored and they punished us, and they have players who can make that happen. Do not do it here because we cannot afford that. But my second point is even more important than that. We've got to stay in control. We have to dictate this game at our own pace. And what that means is we do have the away goal. Yes, we are in control right now. And admittedly, if we got a 0-0 draw, we would go through. So maybe this team could just drift through the game. They could just keep the ball. Hopefully the minutes would tick by and we would get through this game without conceding and we would go through. But don't think like that. Do not be lulled into that false sense of security, because that's another thing. Napoli will come and sit deep and they'll just hope to catch Barcelona sleeping. They'll just hope to lull them into this false sense of security whereby Barca think they're in control. But one moment, one chance, all of that control, it is gone. So don't come out to protect what we have. Come out to take the occasion upon yourselves and put Napoli to the sword. Put the game beyond doubt. And it all comes down here, that intensity. Lionel Messi himself has spoken about intensity after games. He's demanded more from this Barcelona team because what we've got to see is that sharpness in our play. You've got to see the crispness, the quickness in the passing. Because think about it like this. If Napoli want to come out and sit deep and soak up pressure, that's fine. They will want to organise themselves. And you know, the quicker you move the ball, the harder it is for teams to organise. Because many people think that when teams come out in a low block, there's no way through. But that's not true. There's no way through if you pass it sideways and then back. Sideways and then back. If you're moving it so slowly, if you're so predictable, they can easily move around their shape to cope with that. But if you come out with some speed, with energy, with players in your team who can be unpredictable, you get your head up, you pass it forward, you're on the move, you're dragging players out of position. When you do that, suddenly then, it gets harder. You can't just sit in and stay organised because suddenly there's movement around you. There's spaces appearing. You don't know whether to go out, to close down that space, to hold your position, to go with your man. Suddenly, the opposition are uncertain. And look, that's what we did for a very brief period in Naples. We were patient in our passing, we were moving it around, we were biding our time. But one moment, one crisp piece of passing from Messi into Busquets, lovely little triangle situation, and suddenly then, bang, one pass, we're in behind. We've cut out the entire Napoli team and we've exposed them down the right-hand side. A second later, we've got our goal. That is all it takes. With the right focus, the right intensity, and the crispness in your passing, you'll find a weakness. And many people have come away from that game in that first leg and they've said, you know what, Barcelona only scored because Napoli made a mistake. If they didn't make that mistake, you wouldn't have scored. But that's literally the point. You find mistakes, you force mistakes, you find areas in that team where there are weakness and you expose them. We will play our game, we will control the ball, but we must find those areas in that Napoli team and we have to find a way through to keep this game in our own hands. And we just got to hope that when that chance comes, when those moments arrive, we have to be as clinical as we saw from Antoine Griezmann at Stadio San Paolo, because every chance is going to be vital. So that there, guys, is what we can expect from Barcelona against Napoli in terms of the tactical approach in this game. It is going to be fascinating to see how Napoli come out, the way they handle the occasion, the way they handle the fact they need to score. How can we counteract that? And what sort of mentality are we going to find in this Barcelona team? Let me know what you're expecting in the comments down below. And believe me, the build-up, it's not done yet. We've got press conferences, we've got team selections, there's still many things to discuss, and it's all going to be coming up for you right here on TalkFCB. And of course as well, keep your eyes peeled on more TalkFCB. Thanks for your support, guys. I will see you as well in the Flick Chat for plenty more. Thanks for watching, and until next time, as always, Visca el Barça.